How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ralit, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now, today, guys, we have more leaks to take a look at, as there has been information that's been coming out as of yesterday, and I have tons of videos ready for you guys today. This is going to be the first one of today, guys, we're going to be doing and talking about, so let's get started. Now, somebody who actually made, I think, I'm not sure if this is a real one right here, but the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu logo here, and here is the English version of it. Now, I'm not sure if this one is real, or if this is just a fan-made one. I did find it on 4chan, so I'm really not sure, to be honest. But I want to talk about something else today, guys. As you all remember, not too long ago, there was this article that came out and this interview that was had with, like, the developers of Pokemon, essentially. And I think Ken Sugimori specifically talked about, essentially, that Pikachu was supposed to have a second evolution called Gorochu with a large amount of fangs and two horns, or like large fangs and two horns, essentially. And people were drawing, like, custom versions of it, and he was talking about it here, which, we'll go a little bit in depth and read more about it and see what actually it says here eventually. But there's been another leak that came out, and it's this leak right here. And this leak is very interesting because it mentions a bunch of things that I think are very important for us to know. Now, I'm not sure if this is a real one. I would take this one with a grain of salt as we are reading it here, as you guys may understand. Just take it with a grain of salt, guys, and understand that it could be, BS, and it could be not real. So we'll go through every part of these and see what it says here. So the person who posted it is called Let's Go Pikachu Eevee. Is not a remake, it's a reboot, which I agree with the person, whatever their name is. I'm not sure if that's actually their name. No, they're just anonymous, sorry. Messed it up, but that's actually the title of the actual post. And I do agree. I don't think this game we're going to be getting is going to be a yellow remake, but rather a reboot. And the reason for that is, if you guys remember the original leak that came out, the original person who, like, the April the 1st leak that came out about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, that leak specifically said one very important thing, and let me explain what that was. It specifically said that you would not be playing as Red or Blue, you'd be playing as new characters. And if this is a reboot and not a remake, or, I mean, rather, if it's supposed to be a remake, then you can't do that. You need to play as Red and Blue again for it to be a remake, because a remake is supposed to recreate the exact same journey with a few extra things. But if this is a reboot, then things will change. You'll play as new characters, which is what the leak said. You're supposed to play as new characters, and, of course, with a reboot, there is possibilities for new forms of Pokemon, new, like, even potentially new Mega Evolutions, and also, on top of that, new Pokemon in itself. But I don't think we're going to be getting new Pokemon, but there is a chance, right? There is still a chance we're going to get some. But that's besides the point. Let me explain another thing right here as well. That is that I am 100% on board for a reboot. I don't want to see a remake. I really don't want a remake of Pokemon Yellow. That'd be so boring, because we would just experience the exact same journey just in 3D. And I don't think that's what we're going to be getting here. So let's get into the actual leak here and see what this individual says. So, first things first is, right now, there's some confusion going on. What Pokemon Let's Go actually is. Let me tell you, it's not a Pokemon Yellow remake, and it's not a Gen 7 game. So I'm assuming that, of course it wouldn't be a Gen 7 game, it would be a kind of new form of generations, essentially, I would say, and they'd kind of switch around the way they're doing gens, because I don't think this is Gen 8 or Gen 7, this is just a separate own thing, right? Which is very odd in a sense, when you think about it, right? Then he says here, the game takes place in a completely new Kanto. It is fully 3D third-person JRPG, and not a 3DS game in HD based on a layout of 1996's Game Boy JRPG. So what he's saying right here is that it's a completely new Kanto. It's full 3D third-person JRPG, and not like a 3DS game in HD, based graphics based on the layout of, like, the old-school Pokemon Yellow. It isn't supposed to be just a literal rehash of the same journey. It's supposed to be its own unique thing, right? That's what I feel like they're saying here. Then they also say there are new Pokemon. Most of them are evolutions of already known Pokemon, mainly from Kanto, and there are also new regional forms for non-Kanto Pokemon. So this is very interesting, because we do now have this kind of feeling, right, that we're going to be getting new forms of Pokemon, but, like, we're not sure what these new forms are going to be, whether they're going to be these ultra shiny things that we know about, if they're going to be just different colors, whatever, new typings, etc., which I think is the most likely thing to happen, because it did create, like, Alola forms, right, and now they're probably going to make, like, these new, like, I guess, Kanto forms of Pokemon from other generations than Kanto itself, and for certain Kanto Pokemon, we may get pre-evolutions or evolutions, right, which makes sense in my honest opinion, which is also kind of a personal wish list of mine, which is something I really want to see, because, honestly, if we just get a simple remake of Yellow, that's boring. That's literally so boring, and I would be disappointed alongside most other people as well. But if the game includes a new Kanto that's been recreated, different from the previous one, and also on top of that, has new forms of Pokemon, and evolutions for old Pokemon, that would be fantastic. Now, Instead of having new starters, Game Freak had an idea to use Pikachu and Eevee. Both get new evolutions. Gorochu is back, and Eevee is finally getting a normal evolution line. So this is very weird, because I don't think Gorochu was supposed to become a Pokemon, so I'm not sure. This kind of gets me a bit iffy on this whole, like, leak here, but specifically, you know, when you look back at this, they said that key illustrators and designers behind the Pokemon creation of Pokemon, in Ken Sugimori, Atsuko Nishida, and Koji Nishino recently got together to talk all things Pikachu in a big interview with Yomiuri, and they essentially said that Yomiuri said to them, "Tell us how Nishida-san ended up being in charge of the Pikachu design." And then they go through here since the game, yada yada yada. And then they talk about, like, eventually when you go down, far enough, they talk about, like, it was supposed to have, like, another evolution, so to say. And they talk about that. But if you want to go through the whole article, you can do that. I'll link it down below. So I'm not sure if they would be willing to bring something like Gorochu into the fray. Would they really want to, like, include that Pokemon in the conversation again and make it an actual thing, right? Which they planned to do originally, but they didn't end up doing it. Would they do it now? Would it make sense? I don't know, my dudes. I don't know. I think maybe it would make sense. I think maybe they would do it, but it's a very kind of a sketchy one for me. I'm having a hard time, knowing what to feel about it. But then we continue here, into what they say, and they also say that Eevee is finally getting a normal evolution line, which is actually something I think most people have wanted for a long time, right? A lot of people have wanted a normal type Eevee, like, evolution, or, an evolution for it that isn't just, these, different elemental versions of it, right? Sylveon, Leafeon, Glaceon, Jolteon, etc., etc., etc. Like, people wanted to see an actual normal one that just has, like, its normal evolutions, like any other Pokemon, right? They wanted to see that for a long time. And this would make sense, right? Because they have to do something special about the Pokemon on the covers. They can't just give us those Pokemon and that's it, right? Like, people love those Pokemon. If you don't do something innovative with them, people that are, like, dedicated to the, to the actual franchise, beyond just being, people who know it from nostalgia, will want to see something new, so you gotta include something new. Then again, keep in mind, guys, they're literally gonna play this, and this is what scares me about this game and about this development, and I'll continue through the rest of these, but I want to just point this out. What scares me the most about the game and its development is that they'll rely too much on Pokemon Go bringing hype to this game, and them just using nostalgia to have us buy the game, which I don't want. I don't need to have, like, I don't need another remake of Kanto being exactly the same thing as we've had in the past. I want a reboot, something that, goes back to that generation, that, region and stuff, but innovates and adds new stuff. That's what we need. We don't need this to be some sort of quick money grab for Nintendo and Game Freak, just to make quick money, by integrating a game that has, a larger player base at the moment into, whatever we have right now, just to bring in the normies. I don't need that. We don't need that, honestly. We don't really need that stuff unless you add and give us a reason, to play this game and add something new to it. If it's just the same thing, I think most people will be disappointed. If it has new stuff, I think most of us will be on board. Either way, then. So I do feel like a evolution, or a new evolution rather, for Eevee would be awesome. Being a normal one or a normal type would be just freaking fantastic. I don't even know what to say about it, like, beyond that. I think it would be awesome. Either way, your Pokemon can follow you. Not only Pikachu and Eevee, wild Pokemon are also shown in the overworld. No random encounters. So, what they're saying here is your Pokemon can follow you, and not just Eevee and Pikachu can follow you, but other Pokemon will follow you as well. Wild Pokemon are also shown in the overworld, and there are no random encounters. So what they're saying is kind of what I speculated yesterday, guys, and this is something that fits in with the leak that we also got, which said they're going to be using mechanics from Pokemon Go. Now, the mechanic I think they're referring to is the mechanic of encountering Pokemon in the open, right? Instead of going into grass to encounter a Pokemon, you would actually see a Pokemon, you approach it, and that's how you battle it. Or the Pokemon approaches you and runs towards you and, attacks you, and then you go into, like, a, your screen just, like, flashes white, and then you go into a battle or whatever. That's what I'm thinking is, like, how the battles are going to work, and that's what I think they're talking about here is, like, it makes sense. The Pokemon would be in the overworld. They wouldn't be just random encounters anymore through grass and stuff, but you'd encounter them, IRL or, in the overworld and stuff, which would make sense. But then that would also, like, a big issue for people who do shiny hunting. Like, how would shiny hunting work? Would there be, like, a specific method for it anymore? Like, they know shiny hunting is very hyped. They know that people love shiny hunting, hence why they did the whole, like, ultra wormhole stuff for shiny hunters. They knew that stuff was going to be loved by people, which is why they added in so many shinies you can catch in the ultra wormholes and stuff. So I don't think they would just kill off the shiny hunting. They would do something innovative there, which I hope they do. Either way, catching Pokemon is still like the older Pokemon games. A new element inspired by Pokemon Go is that you throw a Pokeball via the touchscreen in handheld mode, or with motions in docked mode. Pokemon from Pokemon Go can finally be brought into the real games via the Pokemon Bank. the game will be revealed soon. We already know the game is supposed to be revealed soon. Again, we just keep in mind, guys, take all this stuff with a grain of salt. Even the original stuff, like even the actual original thing right here, you know, the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, even take that with a grain of salt, because I don't still think that's 100% guaranteed to be real. Like, there is no way to know 100% until we get an official announcement. So, don't, you know, take it with a pinch of salt still. Like, I know people hate hearing me say that, but I have to point it out, guys. Take it with a grain of salt, because we don't really know yet. And I want to know your opinions, guys. Does this sound good to you? If it's a reboot and not a remake, I am 100% on board. As long as we don't get a freaking remake, I am happy. And I think most people are as well. So let me know in the comments down below, guys. What do you think about that? Are you happier with a reboot or a remake? Let me know in the comments, guys. Thank you so much for watching. My name is RUMOUR. Have a great day. And bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.